they say cool tune is not cool, but I'd like to offer a different perspective. Wrong? So, recently on Twitter, if you have followed along with some of the pros and some of the Yugi tubers, a lot of them are really critical about Cool Tune's release on Master Duel. And I have to wonder, like, am I just terrible at this game or what? I'll admit that, like many of these people, I don't actually have I said that wrong. I'll admit that unlike all of these people, I don't have YCS tops. I don't even have a finalist position. I might have day 2'd one YCS out of the 4 that I've been to. But, like, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Fairly often. Master Duel also being, a sim that I go on all the time. And I haven't had any bad luck getting to Master 1 and going on rated duels. Doing fairly decent, right? For, like, an average player. I would say that I'm A-okay. And, while I don't play a lot of TCG in person, it's definitely been, like, something that I always keep up with, right? There's a reason why I have a YouTube channel, right? It's while I don't pander myself to be like super hands-on knowledge. After all, I'm not DB Grinder. After all, I don't have the support group that has like old bozo chat with it, whether it be with Cam Neal, Kamal, and whoever else was in there, just funneling information to each other about how to play certain decks properly, get the best strategies, get the best deck list. I do surround myself with like enough people to where they'll correct me anytime that I do poorly, and I'll also have like a very good objective look at like decks that are coming out in the future and evaluate them properly. Of course, I'm never going to give out advice, right? Like Vex and YGO. But like, personally, I'll see a deck that's coming out in the future, get interested, and know whether or not it would do good or not, right? So this is coming from like the perspective of an average player that does play a lot, is fairly competitive, but of course it hasn't reached the pinnacle of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. So I'll go through all of these current tweets with a grain of salt here, and maybe I'll put me playing Cool Tune poorly on MD. We have a lot of people who genuinely dislike Cool Tune. However, some people's like assessment of the deck doesn't really make sense to me, right? We have PhoebeYGO that states that Cool Tune is as big of a mistake as Malice, right? That everyone hates it, it's insufferable, what have you. And like, they are not the only person that has said this, right? We also had, where is he? Judeo, right? YGO. Say that it's one of the worst designs decks of all time, and he attributes it mostly to the hand knowledge, which I'm not gonna lie, that is really like broken. But also states that Cool Tune and Malice is the same deck but with different flavors. I'd like to think that Cool Tune and Malice are not the same deck with different flavors. In fact, I would say that Cool Tune is just the synchro version of Dracotel, right? Like, that to me makes the most sense. I've never thought about it as anything other than that, but like, it's not like I can skip over his reasoning. One card combo, unhand trappable, link synchro climb, infinite hand traps, insane follow up, meaning that if you don't kill, you lose. Honestly, I don't really agree with that statement at all. Okay, so yeah, like, there are games where the Cool Tune opponent not only will be able to play on your turn, but also have like a immeasurable amount of hand traps and consistently grind to get the win. But like, I don't necessarily think that the deck is unhand trappable. Maybe in Master Duel right now without the new Philia or the new hand trap that's gonna come out. I'll put it on the screen. But like, I genuinely don't understand where he is coming from in like this comparison, because a lot of the time, if your opponent's able to grind the same amount as you after you set up your end board, you might just very well lose. And it's not like, you're guaranteed to, but like if they're able to match with you toe to toe, they're going to outgrind you and then beat you in the matchup, right? And in Malice, if you don't hand trap Malice, right? Even if you hand trap Malice, if they have extenders and they're able to like also follow up their plays with like hand traps to pass their turn, you're genuinely dead next turn. With Cool Tune, that it doesn't work the same way. So I don't get why Judeo YGO is like, you know, pandering this as like being a one-to-one comparison of like bad deck design. Like Malice is just a different beast altogether, and Cool Tune would never reach the heights that Malice could in a vacuum, right? Like in competitive stance, right? Malice hasn't done like the greatest in the TCG until just recently, but like we have to acknowledge that, like, you know, one deck is definitely better than the other, and it is Malice over Cool Tune. We also have, you know, this person, April, who states, the Cool Tune release has probably been the least engaged I've been with the new meta in a long time. It messed up my rhythm because I wasn't expecting a game warping release, but they also attributed to them like being busy. So I mean, you know, this one could be let slide. But then we have people like Atrocity, who genuinely has like poor takes most of the times. They state, every time I lose to Cool Tune, I legitimately consider quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! It's never a normal loss. There's always some BS involved. I'm sorry, but like, have you guys not played during, you know, full power Malice format, during full power Snake Eyes, right? Especially after they received the Fiendsmith, the Millennium support, and more. Like, in my opinion, that was way worse Yu-Gi-Oh! To be played, not only in the TCG, but also in like Master Duel. And this person decided not to like quit Yu-Gi-Oh! During that moment. Maybe they didn't play for that long, genuinely. But like, also, if you see their bio, OCG specialist, like, you guys had Snake Eyes way longer than we did. You guys had Appaloosa way longer than we did. You guys had infinitely more broken cards longer than we have. What is the deal with Cool Tune and these players losing their absolute mind in it? I just couldn't, I could never understand. And like I said, this is why I believe Atrocity is just like always throwing out like shit takes, you know, not to hate on the person, but like I just don't understand the like the hatred. We also have Ryan Yu out of the left field. They say you should be grateful for new experiences. Thank you to Cool Tune for making me wanting to quit Master Duel for the first time. Again, where was this energy with Malice, right? I have never seen Ryan complain this often about a deck in like Yu-Gi-Oh's history as much as I've seen him like harp about Cool Tune. And you know, of course, you know, he continues with the hate, saying top deck is garbage because you won the role with Cool Tune. Well played. Like, yeah, you know, like that's always going to be annoying, right? Cool Tune has always had that though. And Cool Tune hasn't done anything until, like, you know, after the format gave them, you know, the support with Rotary, the new hand trap. Well, okay, we don't have the new hand trap in Master Duel, but it will come in the TCG here in this upcoming week. As you can see, sneak peek for most OTSs, if not all OTSs, is going to be this Friday. So, and then we have Urena agreeing, which is kind of crazy. Maybe this is just a Master Duel problem, honestly. Like, I can't imagine Ryan Yu, like, playing the TCG and legitimately being upset at it, especially even in Master Duel still, because Ryan plays Lunalight, Ryan plays Sky Striker. Both of those decks, unironically, will have very good matchups into Cool Tune. Lunalight has a really good matchup going first, and Sky Striker has a really good matchup going second. Now, granted, Rose Whip does make that like significantly worse to play through, but Rose Whip gets banned in Master Duel, like, you know, within the next following season, which is going to be in just a few days. And like in the TCG, we should expect Konami to follow that same route. So I don't know why Ryan is crying. But again, maybe I just haven't played enough. Okay. Then from here, you know, this person is, you know, kind of like talking about how the next format is going to shape up, which they state, the worst part is people crying about the current format. wanting Radiant Typhoon cards and Yummy cards on the ban list when we know, okay, who wants Radiant Typhoon cards on the ban list? I don't think we need any Radiant Typhoon cards on the ban list. Like, that engine wholeheartedly gets power crept like next format. Anyways, when we know for a fact that Cool Tune is going to come in and be the most toxic thing in the room, Rose Whip, Extra Deck Rips, etc., but Cupsy Way is the problem. Yes, like, I think we need to move away from Yummy. Like, we need good, consistent hits, like, for the following format. And whether it's Snatchy, whether it's Cupsy Yummy Way, one of those two has to go. Maybe even both. And then we'll go into Trevor. Again, Trevor, just like Atrocity, I believe always like just throws out terrible takes. You know, I'll say this much. You know, because I don't want to sound like I'm just hating on them like fully, but you know, like, I'll be an ally with Trevor, right? Safe and friendly, like, hey, that's an ally for me. But like, Cool Tune turns are like unskippable YouTube ads. Honestly, I could not disagree more. Cool Tune turns can take like a while, but I feel like this is a deck that goes through his combos very quickly, and then yeah, they're gonna play on your turn, but so has every other single deck recently. 3 decks come to the top of my mind that take much longer than a Cool Tune turn. Yummy Mitsurugi, Vanquish Soul Canine, Draco Tail Magistus. Like, straight up, all of those decks take way longer and do way more on your turn than Cool Tune does. Enough said. This one is a little crazy too. Now we got like some randoms. Cool Tune is way closer to Malice than Elf Note. It's literally the same play pattern as Malice and Yummy. Literally nothing alike, but go on, King. You know, at the very least, we can all have our opinions, straight up. This person, they state, you know, at their response to Farfa, where again, he asked like a very valid question. Why do people hate this deck so much? And why don't people like the mirror? I think the mirror is fine. I think the mirror is actually quite fun. But moving on, they state, banishes your 1-up from the extra deck. Yeah, that could suck, but like, if your deck highly like loses to losing 1 card in the extra deck, it might be time to let it go. I'm only saying this in respect to like something like Yummy, right? Because like losing the Snatchy is like, hey, you know, you had the deck for so long, it's time to let go. But like, if I get my 1-up Ripper in like Canine Vanquish Soul ripped, and that's assuming you only play 1, right? Or maybe my Zeus, right? Like, yeah, that would suck, but like, I feel like I can still play. Gains perfect hand knowledge, that part does suck. I don't know why Rotary just gets to look at your hand for free. Like, even under Droll, I get to just look at your hand, because the effect to add is a den effect. So the first part happens, which is look at your hand, then I can search. It's absolutely ludicrous. Manipulates your top deck. That is another valid reason. Okay, sure, I'll give you these two. Makes an Omni Negate. The Omni Negate is not that crazy, alright? I played in a time where like making 5 Omni Negates was the norm for many decks. Summons a Floodgate. Okay, I will say that the level modulation of not only back-to-back but RS are annoying, but I'm pretty sure this is referencing Rose Whip, which again, hopefully that card gets banned in the CCG as it has in Master Duel. Screws over XC Synchro decks with the level increase. I'd say that some Synchro decks, even in the mirror, are a-okay. The Synchro deck in question that it does mess up with, aside from probably Elf Note, is Yummy, more than likely. The XC's decks, there's none really that's currently super relevant. Like, there is Canine, but I feel like people are going to move out of favor of, like, you know, a Vanquish Soul Canine deck. And if you're playing that deck, if you open a really good Vanquish Soul engine, the XC's portion is almost irrelevant. Plays around every Charmy. I don't know why this is a bad thing. Truly a mystery why people hate this deck. Honestly, truly a mystery why people don't love it more, in my opinion. And then, of course, we have some memes. Started playing Cool Tune on Master Duel. I mean, I love this, actually. I'm gonna steal this. In fact, BRB. And then I think the only person that whose opinion I am actually agreeing with for the first time in a long time is Triff, where he loves Cool Tune. And then he, of course, talks about like just how nice it's going to be to play Cool Tune in the format. Now here, right, we have at least something to look forward to in the future, where this person, Reich YGO, I've seen him around. I feel like I know who this is. Not that I know them personally, but like who they actually are. But yeah, just to add this at the end, Yu-Gi-Oh is looking good for the next format. We only have to hit on the ban list a few cards, just a few, right? Not too many. Rose Whip, Talons, Called by, D Fissure, Mistaken the Res, D Shifter, Ash Blossom Droll, DDD Caesar, Wave Hiking Caesar, of course, not the rank 4, Cupsy, Yummy Way, Canine Ripper. Honestly, so far, they're spitting. Malice cards. This is actually a deck that should have just never been created. Liger Dancer. Yeah, I know they're getting support. This is a wish list thing. This is not gonna happen. Wanted. Oh, you know what? I like that. So anyways, yeah, like in my opinion, I think Cool Tune is being really hated on. I think part of the reason, and this is probably the reason, is just that the deck came out full power in Master Duel, and there was hardly anything really done to try to like balance it out, because I feel like a lot of people think that the deck is just like unable to be like countered or played around or played through. But I've played multiple matches on ladder where, you know, my opponent will play a striker deck, my opponent will play Radiant Typhoon or whatever, and they will win in the long run. It's actually kind of crazy. Both of those decks having really good matchups, right? Or maybe I just can't get over Liger. Even like against Dracotel, right? If an opponent goes full Dracotel setup, they're bouncing so many of my cards, so many of my tuners to try to synchro, that unless I open like Cool Tune synchro right away, I get punished severely. And even then, you can't just start with Cool Tune synchro. Like, you have to of course hope that they don't have flame set up, and like, so your hand traps have to be super impactful, and they can be, but like opening a hand of just hand traps is just really terrible, and then you got to worry about like their own hand traps. Like, it's a mess wholeheartedly. But like, my personal experience in Master Rank with Cool Tune hasn't always felt like if I just go first and I full set up, like I'm just gonna straight up win. And maybe that's just a skill issue, but like, I think that Cool Tune is a fine deck, and I think in the TCG it'll show, because I've been watching a lot of replays on the DB Grinder channel where people are doing Iron Man or just playing, you know, just to prep for the next format that's coming up in a few days, and like, they struggle against some other top contenders such as Doom Z, such as Art Mage. Funny enough, Art Mage, any of the Elf Node decks, right, and more. So like, I feel like we're gonna be heading on to another good format. And while people might be, you know, doom posting here about Cool Tune on Master Duel on Twitter, I think that their worries will soon be over. Is there some toxic things about Cool Tune? Definitely yes, but like, I think people have to remember how we all felt about Cool Tune whenever it was dropped on release. It was lackluster, it wasn't very powerful, it was, you know, very like, not only Cool Tune, but of course the other two decks in Phantom Revengers, they were like incredibly slow, didn't do enough on their own, and felt like a far cry from the Justice Hunter format deck builder set, right? And then they get good support, and all of a sudden people are complaining that the deck is too strong. It's like one or the other. Either you want Konami to slow down the game, or you want Konami to keep it at a very powerful level. Regardless, Blazing Dominion is going to be a great set. Cool Tune is going to be amazing, and I can't wait to really just have it in my hands. I have the deck core and have had it for a few months now, and hopefully I end up doing pretty well with it both in the TCG and continue to do well with it in Master Duel. And that is it for my rant and the assessment over the community's hatred over Cool Tune. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree with their sentiment. In my opinion, as you can see, I don't. But maybe someone in the comment section, or maybe others, can open my eyes as to why Cool Tune is a problem. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace and have a wonderful day.